Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to do your January 2016 tarot card readings. I continue to use the Gilded Tarot deck, drawing 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week, with an additional card as the overall theme and general advice for the month. These are general readings, so they may not apply or resonate the same for everyone who watches them. If they don't resonate for you, I suggest you also check your rising and your moon sign as well. Um, it, for those of you who would like information on personal readings, you can click on the About button on my channel's homepage, and that will give you more detail on myself, the services I offer, and my contact information, which is Maggie, the number 1, McGuire at gmail.com. And a special thank you to those of you who have allowed me to do personal readings for you. You've been keeping me very busy these days, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to do so. I remember each and every one of you and your stories, and it has truly been a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for those of you who continue to follow and watch and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all your feedback very much, and hopefully the issue of volume will be resolved this month. So I have been working on that a bit. Um, we are into the new year already, and for those of you who wish to book personal readings with me, the specials I'm offering this month are personal readings for $1 a minute, beginning at 30 minutes and going all the way up to 90 minutes. I am also offering yearly overviews for the month of 2016. I do those in the form of 60-minute overviews or 90-minute overviews for $60 and $75, and I do a 3-card spread for each month. So those are pretty interesting and give quite a lot of insight and clarity in the year to come. And thank you for those of you who have requested those already. I do either readings by phone or by live Skype, and I can also do recorded videos and send the link to those as well. And oh, one last thing, I do have a referral system in place that I probably ought to mention because I've already been getting referrals from people. For those of you who refer people to me for confirmed and booked readings, you will receive 50% off the reading of your choice. And how that would work is once the person that you have referred to me has a confirmed and booked personal reading, they would just mention you as a reference, and then we would go ahead and get together and set up a time for the reading of your choice. And thank you for those of you who have uh, validated me so much by referring others to me. So enough of that, let's get right into this reading. This is for Aquarius for the month of January 2016. Aquarius, the water bearers, for January 2016. What does this first month of this new year hold for Aquarians for January 2016? Okay. For the first week, we have the Six of Wands, followed by the Three of Cups. For the second week, we have the Tower card, followed by Temperance. For the third week, we have the Queen of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Wands. For the fourth week, we have the Seven of Pentacles, followed by the Nine of Wands. And as an overall theme, general feeling of the month, I pull a card from the bottom of the deck, and you have the Five of Cups. Okay, let's begin. We start the month with actually quite a celebratory sort of coupling of cards. We have the Six of Wands, followed by the Three of Cups. Now, the Six of Wands is one of the victory cards of the tarot deck. It's a card of triumph over something, of successful accomplishment of something. It shows a man who is riding back into town, which implies he's come back from something, that he has brought some kind of success or triumph with him. He's dressed in his finest, his horse is prancing, the people are cheering and applauding and giving him general accolades. This is a card that speaks of triumph over something or the successful completion of a project or a mission or quest of some kind. It's a card of celebration and just has a general lovely celebratory feeling. It feels like you're coming into the month of January or you're ending the month of December feeling a sense of triumph over something, and you're getting what looks to be a fair amount of recognition for it. People are pointing you out and applauding the efforts you've put into something, which looks like it's paid off. And it's paired with the Three of Cups, which is just underscores the general feeling of the Three of Cups being also a very celebratory card. It speaks of spending time in the company of people whose company you truly enjoy. It can also speak of taking pleasure in the smaller things in life, the day-to-day comforts and people that are around us. It shows three women dancing in the air, waving their banners, and three cups overflowing. There's a very light-hearted, very fun, very festive, celebratory feeling to this card. So what a wonderful way to begin the month with Aquarius. It looks like if this doesn't represent the end of the year, New Year's Eve kind of party celebrations, it looks like you've achieved something, accomplished something, you've had some kind of triumph over something. So that's a great way to begin the first month of this new year. Now, in the second week of the month, and I'd like to stress also, as I do from time to time, that the timeline of the cards is not really definitive in specific beginning and ending. This could very well be energy that begins in the month of December, goes through January, and leaks a little bit into February as well. So in the second week of January, we have the Tower card, which is a major arcana card, with the Temperance card, which is another major arcana card. And it's interesting that we have these two together, although it kind of makes sense because the Tower is about forces outside of our control coming in and affecting changes in our life that we're either unable or unwilling to make. And I know that for those of you who know what the Tower card represents, there's always a sense of when this card comes up because the Tower kind of has a tendency to take all, as it were. The Tower speaks of very forceful and very profound forces coming into our life and affecting some kind of change. It could be something, hugely cataclysmic or traumatic. And for those of you Aquarians, I mean, not everyone's born on the same day at the same time in the same week of the month, and so the things that happen in these readings or the things that these cards speak of the potential for happening can occur to greater degrees with some Aquarians watching them in lesser degrees than others. It just kind of depends on where you fall. But the Tower represents an event, some kind of event occurring that you could never have anticipated, something happening which from the outside looking in can sometimes appear to be a very traumatic sort of thing and have somewhat negative connotations. But each card has an optimistic side to it, even if it's more subtle than overtly stressed. In this particular imagery, the Tower shows a structure, the foundation that this person has had being torn apart because it's struck by lightning, and the individual is falling out of the tower with no clothes on, so to speak, which implies a very vulnerable, helpless sort of feeling. The Tower is something that happens. It could be Aquarians I mean, the Tower often happens when some kind of change needs to occur in someone's life, or something happens to create a major change in someone's life, and it's usually very unexpected and comes out of a direction you're just not anticipating. It's something you weren't expecting at all. You can see that the bolt of lightning is coming out of the sky, and it's just hit this Tower and is in the process of destroying the foundation of something that had been very solid and stable. But as most often happens in life, sometimes the destruction of or taking away of something that we have rested on for a while is sometimes what needs to happen so that major changes can occur and propel us into a different and more positive direction in our life, or within a particular situation, or within a particular relationship. Um, and these are changes that we're either unable or unwilling to make on our own. So God, Spirit, the divine, whatever your spiritual structure is, sometimes comes in, as this Tower card represents, and affects these changes in a very profound and unexpected way because we can't do it. And sometimes at the beginning it can look very negative, it can feel very traumatic, or even, as I've said, cataclysmic. But there's always a positive side to this because rebirth always follows death, and life always follows fire, and often in a much more positive and healthy way. Now, this is paired with the Temperance card, which is another major arcana card and a lovely card. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. Excuse me. Take a drink. The Temperance card speaks of temperance. It speaks of balance and of moderation. It speaks of being able to hold opposite extremes in perfect alignment and perfect peace. This represents having a sense of inner peace in which to walk a path through events that, as in the tower, when you have that sense of being grounded, of being authentic, and feeling very true to yourself, and you found that kind of place in life um, where you feel very connected and very rooted and confident in who and where you are. You can walk a path when there's a lot of outside turbulence and a lot of outside forces, no matter how negative they may seem. You have the sense of inner peace in order to be able to walk a very balanced and aligned path in it. And as opposed to, or in conjunction with the Tower card, what I feel, Aquarians, is that something happened in the month of January. And again, for some of you, I actually feel that this could have been something happening in the end of December or part of a process. And maybe this celebratory feeling or event that occurred that looked so positive might have been a bit premature. Um, but it looks like something has happened, or something is happening, or something is going to be happening in the first part of January, and like I said, maybe for the end of December for some of you. That comes like a bolt out of the blue. It's something that was very unexpected, and something that's going to challenge your sense of self-control, and also is going to call for a sense of balance and a sense of self-control. And I'm wondering, for some of you that already have this kind of inner peace, or this sense of being very grounded and rooted in who you are, I'm wondering if the Tower is actually going to affect you in such a profound or necessarily painful way. But for some of you, it will, and some of you, it's really going to challenge your sense of inner peace, and your sense of self-control is kind of what I'm feeling, because it's something that you weren't expecting, and it's something that just comes right out of the blue. Now, in the third week, we have the Queen of Pentacles, followed by the Seven of Wands. And it's interesting because the feeling I'm getting off this pairing of cards is a sense of wanting to protect your home, and something to do with putting your family first and protecting your home somehow, protecting your home, your way of life, something about your day-to-day way of life. And whatever this Tower card situation is, for some of you, I feel like maybe it could be, for some of you, it's going to, I mean, it's just going to resonate different ways for different Aquarians. For some of you, it could represent the process of divorce is kind of what I'm feeling, that someone's spouse has come to them and has asked them for a divorce, or perhaps you've been the one that have gone to someone and asked them for a divorce, or somebody's leaving somebody. And this is kind of representing a very immediate and very negative feeling, sort of hassle and conflict over property, and it's actually got something to do with your actual home and how you live your day-to-day life. But the feeling I'm getting with this coupling of cards is that, especially directly following this Tower and Temperance card combination, I feel like it's like you feel like someone is trying to take something away from you. And for some of you, like I said, this is going to represent your actual home, whether it's through some kind of breakup or separation with someone for whom you share these common assets with, or perhaps you've been in some kind of financial difficulty, and perhaps you're being foreclosed, your home is actually being foreclosed on. Perhaps you had applied for a home or a property and you thought you'd gotten it and were already kind of celebrating, but then something occurred at the last minute, which meant that you didn't get it, or your loan wasn't approved, or something like that. But I'm just getting a very strong sense of this feeling of your home, or something that you've invested a lot of time and effort into, something that has to do with your where and how you live your day-to-day life, that is either being taken away from you or being challenged or threatened in some way. This Queen of Pentacles um, also has a very provider sort of feeling with it. This speaks to, and Pentacles is in the element being that of earth, and it represents the suit typically manifests in money, finances, assets, property, very tangible sorts of things. It can also point to job and career as well. And the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who's worked very long and hard to get to the place where she or he is. She is enjoying the abundance that is around her that she has built up, the fruits of her labor. Everything that she has gotten has been through dint of her own hard work, by virtue of her own talent and her own labor. This is somebody who is surrounded by um, things that make her feel secure and grounded and comfortable, but every single thing that she is enjoying is something that she has worked for and earned herself. This is not someone who has had anything handed to her uh, without earning it. This is someone who has worked very hard for everything that she's gotten. And paired with the Seven of Wands shows a man who's standing in front of the door to his castle, his keep. Of course, this could also represent something that you feel a very strong sense of ownership and possession with, because it's yours. You worked very hard for it, and it's being challenged in some way. You feel like you're having to defend it in some way. This is also a card that speaks of holding your ground and of staying the course when you're being challenged, or when you feel like someone is trying to take something from you. And I really feel like whatever the situation is with the Tower card, it feels like someone is trying to, you feel like something, the solidity in your life, the security and stability in your life is being challenged in some way if someone's not outright trying to take it from you. For some of you, again, this is going to manifest in your actual house, your home, your property, some kind of solidity in how you live your day-to-day life. And this combination speaks to defending that, to protecting your home, and also the feeling I'm getting is of putting your family first, because this has something to do with the solidity of how your family lives in their day-to-day life. And if this is referring to your home or your property, that would make complete sense. Now, in the fourth week, we have the Seven of Pentacles, followed by the Nine of Wands. Now, the Seven of Pentacles speaks of reflection and assessment and evaluation during a harvest time. It shows a woman who is looking at this tree which has the fruits on it in the form of pentacles. Everything has come to ripen and they are ready to be picked. There's a ladder leaning up against the tree, and she has holding a basket with which to put everything that she picks into. The basket is empty, though. She hasn't actually begun to pick the fruit yet. She actually hasn't begun to harvest it yet. She's in a period of assessment and reflection right now. And this card speaks of the primary question being, has it been worth it? Has everything that you put into it paid off? Is this all you're going to get? Has the end justified the means? It can speak of being in a place where you feel like you've put all this into it and you're not getting back what you've put into it, that there's an imbalance somewhere. It speaks of being in a time where you're just considering, is this, and especially as it flows at the end of the Tower and the Queen of Pentacles and Seven of Wands, I feel, Aquarians, as if you're ending the month in this state of mind, an emotional state where you feel like that everything you've put into this situation or this home or this relationship or something, you feel like you're just not getting back, that it's being taken away from you, and it's being challenged or threatened somehow in a manner that you just didn't expect, that just kind of came out of the blue, and you're asking yourself, was it worth everything you put into it if this is the position that you find yourself in? And it's paired with the Nine of Wands, which wand's the element being fire and air, and it typically speaks of pointing to change and action and movement and power. This card represents uh, confusion and reflection during a period of temporary self-defeat. And this shows a man who, there's 8 wands sunk in the ground behind him, and he's holding on to a ninth one, and he's sunk down in the ground, and he's actually holding on to this ninth one as if it's the only thing kind of keeping him in any way upright. And this speaks of having some kind of defeat, although the actual message is that it's more of a temporary defeat. And it's something unexpected. It's a defeat he wasn't expecting. And this uh, very strongly and clearly points back to the first part of the month where you're entering it, celebrating something, you feel like you've triumphed over something, and then all of a sudden something happens to completely change your outlook on that and make you feel as if something's being taken away from you, something's being threatened. you're wondering, is this what I'm getting after everything I've put into it? This is all that I'm getting? Is somebody trying to take something away from me? And this card speaks of finding yourself in a place where you've suffered some kind of defeat and you're confused as to why. It speaks of taking a time out to look at the situation and reflect on it and evaluate it and get a different perspective and figure out a different way of going about it before you go back in, because that's the other underlying message to this card too, and one that I'm getting is whatever this situation is here, you're not finished. This is something that you need to go back into. But this card points to taking a time out, looking back at what happened, maybe what part you could have played in it, and getting a different perspective on it and figuring out how to go about dealing with it in a different way before you actually go back into it, because the feeling that I'm getting is that this is going to be some kind of process or battle of some kind. And so this combination of cards speaks to just finding yourself towards or at the end of the month where you're just feeling kind of defeated and how did this happen, and after everything I put into it, this is what I'm getting. Has it really been worth it, and how do I deal with this? I just wasn't expecting this. So when kind of an uncomfortable place to be, and it feels very um, just kind of just an unexpected. I'm just getting kind of an unexpected feeling. This just whatever this is that's occurred was not expected, and it leaves you feeling kind of defeated. And where do I go from here? And really, after everything I've put into it, this is what I end up with. Has it really been worth it? Um, but the underlying message of again of the Nine of Wands is that it's about, and the advice would speak to taking a time out, looking at the situation, trying to keep that temperance and that balance in check, because this is really going to challenge your sense of inner peace and your sense of balance, and trying to be moderate during this. But it speaks of looking at it and strategizing about the best way to deal with it, and then going back in and resuming whatever this battle looks like. Because the feeling I'm getting is that it's going to be a process of some kind. Now, the overall theme and general feeling of the month is the Five of Cups, um, and cups being the element being water, and cups being a suit that points towards our emotions, love, relationships, things of that sort, our emotional our emotional landscape. And it shows a man who's sunk down in the grass, and he's uh, he's in a very sad state of mind over these cups that have spilled, crying over spilt milk, as it were. He's focusing on these three cups that are spilled in front of him, and moaning over the things that he has lost and what he appears to not have anymore. Now, this is the Five of Cups, and there are still two cups behind him upright in the grass, but he's not noticing them. He's not paying attention to them. He's completely focused and obsessed with the cups that are spilled and with what he's lost or feel has been taken or is under threat of being taken from him. And as this is the overall theme and general feeling of the month, it just kind of feels like this is what's happening for the majority of the month, that you feel as if something has either been taken away or is in the process of being taken away or is under threat of being taken away or being lost somehow. Your sense of security, your sense of stability is really being shaken, and this is what you're focusing on. But the piece of advice in walking through this for the month, Aquarians, and moving ahead into the next month, because again, I feel this is going to be an ongoing process for a while, is to try and maintain that sense of balance and temperance and self-control. But also, this man is focused only on what he has lost, or only on what the cups that are overturned. The underlying theme to this card is that, I mean, there's a subtle push for optimism in this card. You can see that there are still two cups standing. There are still two cups standing. There is still hope for the future. And also the feeling that I'm getting, Aquarians, is that as this is an overall theme, even though this tower is something that happens out of the blue, or when it happens, or if it's already just happened, this feeling that feels like it's hanging over you for the month of January. For some of you, I think it's not entirely unexpected. It's something you're already aware of, this feeling of sorrow and of grief. But again, there is a subtle push for optimism. There are still two cups behind you in the grass upright. And the piece of advice would be to turn around and look at those and see what you still have left. There is hope for the future. The sun is still rising in the background, although it looks very gloomy And there is a strong element of grief and loss and sorrow in this, but the birds are returning, they're continuing to fly, there is movement, there's still cups standing upright. And again, I think the underlying piece of advice, Aquarians, would be to remember what you still have around you, and that this isn't over yet, and it could be just a period of reflection and strategizing before you go in and figure out a different and a better way to deal with this, and one that includes trying to maintain a sense of self-control and balance through this. So Aquarians, what a dramatic reading. It feels very challenging and somewhat turbulent and somewhat of a bit of a downer. But remember, there's always positive aspects to this. There's always positive aspects to the card. Birth always follows death. Transformation always follows the Tower. Particularly if it's changes that are happening that needed to happen and that we just were unwilling or unable to actually make. There is a strong thread of hope for the future. And again, I think the advice is to try and maintain balance, try and maintain a sense of self-control, and look around and remember what you still have and that this isn't over yet. So Aquarians, I hope this has resonated for you or given you some wisdom and insight and clarity into what may lie ahead. And I hope that it's given you some, maybe, being forewarned is forearmed, as the saying goes. And if you see any of these things playing out, remember the hope for the future. Remember to take a look around and still and notice and appreciate and be grateful for the things that you still have, and try to have a different perspective and strategize a bit on whatever this is before you go back in to find the best way and path through it and forward. And I think that things will turn out quite well for you. It looks like this is going to be a very transformative period, even though um, it looks to be pretty challenging. So it'll be interesting to see how this continues to play out for you through the month of January and into February as well. And again, this is going to resonate quite strongly for some Aquarians that are watching it, and not as strongly for others. And if it doesn't resonate for you at all, um, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well, because I think this is speaking specifically towards a specific group of Aquarians. Some kind of specific event is happening. So if any of you feel comfortable sharing any of this with me, if it does resonate, please do. I always like to hear follow-ups and keep posted on people's stories when they are generous enough to share them with me. So if you'd like a personal extension on this reading or a personal reading entirely, please just click on the About button on my channel's homepage, and that will give you my contact information and some details on what I offer. And until next month, I may have time, since I've gotten these out by January 1st, I may have time to do some more videos in the month of January. Although my time and energy is focused first and foremost on my private clients. But I'm so happy to be able to do these general readings. So until I see you again, for sure in February 2016, Aquarius, I hope that you find a very balanced and positive way to walk through this. And I think that things will turn out just fine for you. And I think it's going to be, at the end of it, it's going to be quite transformative for you. So until I see you again, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. And I'll see you in February 2016. Thank you for watching, Aquarians, and I'll talk to you later.